Yo, it's L. As you might have guessed, I'm a bit of a Zelda fan. You can see my original copy of Ocarina of Time, some of my Zelda amiibos, my Zelda controller, my copy of Majora's Mask, and even some figures from Ocarina of Time. Over time, just from moving and theft, as well as my parents throwing some of my old stuff out, I don't really have a lot of my Zelda stuff anymore. Here are 3 of the games that I have on Switch, as well as the Zelda Switch game holder. Just some of my Switch games. Mario Kart's currently in my Switch. Here are my strategy guides. I had these since I was a kid. Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask. And for some reason, I have 2 guides per game. I also have the collector's strategy guide for Breath of the Wild, but I'm currently lending that out to a friend. When I was a kid, I loved The Legend of Zelda. I played the original, played a little bit of Zelda 2. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to play Link to the Past, but on N64, Ocarina of Time was my favorite game. I loved Majora's Mask, I had a Game Boy, and later a Game Boy Advance, but I had Link's Awakening, Link's Awakening Deluxe, Oracle of Ages, and Oracle of Seasons. I loved those games. And Link's Awakening, I played more than any other game on Game Boy, even over Pokemon. And when GameCube came out, no surprise, but I loved Twilight Princess. But after a while, I sort of fell out with the Zelda series. Something that I loved growing up got to a point where I didn't really care about it. See, Nintendo released something called the Space World 2000 tech demo. Basically, it's just a cutscene of Ganondorf and Link having a sword fight. And as a kid, I thought it looked really cool. I was hyped for the next game. But the next game was Wind Waker. And it's not so much, for me, what Wind Waker looked like. It was just the expectation set from the tech demo. And what I felt was almost cheated, but I felt like, this didn't live up to expectations. And being a kid, I just didn't play it. I just wrote it off as a dumb looking game. And I wish that I actually gave it a chance back then. And then Skyward Sword came out, and that one you needed to use a Wiimote. I didn't really like the Wiimote. That's why I bought Twilight Princess on GameCube. Also, I didn't have any handheld Nintendo consoles after the Game Boy Advance, so I didn't play the handheld titles that came out later. And after a while, after Skyward Sword, I just didn't keep up with the series. I didn't know what game was new, I didn't know what was going on, and by the time they released the official timeline, I didn't really care at that point. But it wasn't until Breath of the Wild where I got back into The Legend of Zelda. So when Nintendo announced they would be closing the Wii U eShop, I thought now's my last chance to get anything I want off there. So I was looking through, and I noticed there was a category just for Zelda games. If it wasn't for Breath of the Wild getting me back into the series, I would not have clicked on that. But I'm glad I did. I saw there was 12 Zelda games. 9 of them I haven't beat. Now, I wanted to start YouTube for a while. There were a lot of reasons why I didn't, but a big one was not knowing where to start. So when I was looking at those Zelda games, I thought, why don't I start by beating every single player Zelda game that I've missed? Now, Breath of the Wild, I'm done most of the game. I wanted to 100% it before fighting Ganon, and there's very little for me to do that's content worthy aside from Ganon's castle and Ganon. So because it's basically just the boss fight, we'll start with that. Every other game will be a full playthrough. I'm not the completionist, so I'm not going to be 100%ing the games. And I don't have a 3DS or a copy of A Link Between Worlds, so till I can get a copy of those, or gets a re-release, I'm gonna have to pass on that game for now. So before we get to the Zelda games I'm going to play and the order I'm going to play them, we'll start with the games that I have played. So I've 100%ed Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess, Link's Awakening, Oracle of Ages, and Oracle of Seasons. Link's Awakening, I went the extra mile. I 100%ed the deluxe version and the Switch remaster. The Zelda games that I've played but not beat would be the original Legend of Zelda, Zelda 2, A Link to the Past, Breath of the Wild, and Minish Cap. And the games that I haven't played would be Wind Waker, Phantom Hourglass, Spirit Tracks, Skyward Sword, and A Link Between Worlds. These are the games I'm going to be playing for my Zelda quest. I'm going to go over this real quick, sort of explain why I put them in the order that I did. So number 1, Breath of the Wild. Most of the game's is done. Just have to beat Ganon, so we'll just do a quick video of Ganon's castle, and then Ganon, the boss fight, my final thoughts. Now Minish Cap, I put second because it's probably the most recent Zelda game that I played. I played it on Switch Online. I got to the last dungeon, like the Dark Castle, Dark Hyrule Castle, whatever it's called. But I used save states. So even if I beat the game, because I use save states, I don't really count that as beating the game. I know there's varying opinions on it, and I'm not here to say who's right or wrong. Just for me, personally, I didn't really play the game as intended. Like I said, I use save states. So just for me personally and for this channel and stuff, gonna start from the beginning. No cheats, no save states, nothing. Next is A Link to the Past. This game, I played about half of it. It was either when I was in college or after college, and then life happened, I was moving, this and that, so I put my Wii U away, and I didn't really get to finish A Link to the Past. So, I'm gonna be playing that from start to end. Now, if I can get a copy of A Link Between Worlds and the 3DS, I'd like to play it after A Link to the Past. Just from my understanding, it's... I don't know, I was reading, I don't know if it's exactly a sequel, or it at least takes place in like the same setting, so I'm like, okay, a bit thematic. As well, number 4, 5, 6, 7, I've never played those games before, so A Link to the Past would be good, I think, before Wind Waker, but... if and when I can get a 3DS, and if and when I can get a copy of A Link Between Worlds, I don't know if that's ever going to happen. I don't know if it's going to get a re-release. I don't know. So, I didn't put it on the list for now. And then, yeah, Wind Waker, never played it before. So, I just wanted to do a chunk like Wind Waker, Hourglass, Spirit Tracks, Skyward Sword of just the games I haven't played. Now, Phantom Hourglass, from my understanding, is a sequel to Wind Waker, so naturally, I'm going to play it after Wind Waker. Spirit Tracks, from my understanding, is like one of those weird Zelda things where I'm not sure if it's a direct sequel or if it's like, oh, it takes place a little bit after, but Wind Waker, Phantom Hourglass, Spirit Tracks, from my understanding, is sort of like a trilogy in the same setting or something, so that's why I put them in that order. Skyward Sword... never played it before. I don't think there's any prequel or sequel games, so I'm gonna put it there. Zelda 2. I don't want to play this game, but it's a Zelda game. It's a single-player Zelda game. I haven't beat it. I tried playing it a few weeks ago with my friends. Oh, well, you just die, and then you just get mad, and then you just stop playing. So that's gonna be really interesting for people to watch me play. And then lastly, the original Legend of Zelda. I always wanted to beat this game. I was learning how to speedrun it, got as far as the second dungeon. Yeah, I actually had this game on Game Boy. They released, it was like an NES Classic, something like that. I don't remember if it was like Game Boy Color or Game Boy Advance, but I got it for my birthday. The next day, someone stole my Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, all my games, all my accessories. So like the game literally never came out of the box. So I always wanted to beat that game. I can't wait to play it, to beat it. So I'm going to save it for last. And yeah, that's the list. Also, Tears of the Kingdom. That I don't know if I'm going to play that at the end, or maybe I'll do a separate series of just me playing that. But we'll see. But for now, these are Zelda games for my Zelda quest. So even though I'm just starting out, I definitely want to get better equipment, animations, and better recording and editing software down the line. And I really hope this channel does well enough that I could put out more content. I can cover different things. It'd be cool for me personally if I could try out new things. And it would be cool to talk about other media that I like and some of my other interests. But at least starting, I have something to do. I have a main series I can start with. So like, comment, subscribe, and join me as I attempt to beat every single player Zelda game that I've missed in a weekly series I call The Legend of Zelda, the Zelda Quest.